Champ Select is up, going straight on in game number 3. Black versus Gamehoppers.EU. Gamehoppers took game number 1 with some pretty solid play. Black kind of kind of threw it away. Unfortunately, just could not win the early game. But game number 2, Black almost threw it out, but they did eventually get the Baron. They got pushed for the win. So here we go. Game number 3 going to be going in there. Soraka and the Jace ban coming on back.
Yeah, so they want to take that out. It did work out very well for Black in that last game, but they recognize that Gamehoppers might pick it up as well. I'm kind of curious if Jace has been just infiltrating the EU scene, and if he's become that popular because of Fnatic's play, because of SOAS, and then started to move to some of these other teams, because we've seen it on a couple of teams now. I just want to say though, real quick, quick shout out to the chat. I love checking in and seeing what you guys say sometimes, and the Fair Food Store. That's just brilliant, and whoever it was that was going to stand on the side and do nothing, that you guys were going to call PR, I love it. That's perfect. But here we go. Rengar being banned out as well, so they don't want to see that Rengar play, and they first pick the Nunu. Alistar is still open though, but Nunu is just such a powerful support.
Alistar is still open, and I'm wondering if Black's going to allow the Aurelia pick, or the Karthus pick for that matter, for the 3rd time in a row for Gamehoppers. And it's kind of like signing that death warrant. It's like, we're guaranteeing, it's like they're putting a clock on themselves. Making sure that we really don't want to win the late game. We really don't want to.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. What were you saying would be the decision that would be like they don't want to win the late game?
Karthus Aurelia. They're still allowing Gamehoppers to grab
right,
them.
yeah. So that is still the threat, but Karthus is very vulnerable early in the game, so they can try and pressure him some. But I don't know. We'll see. They go with the Blitzcrank and then going with the Lee Sin. So I think we've seen Naprian on Lee Sin in the past. I think that was like his most common jungler. He would play it like every game, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't know. We'll have to see where they go with that. Soraka is still banned. Sona banned as well, going with those common bans against Black, since they're some of their favorite champions. But I don't know. We'll see. I think maybe they might be questioning themselves a little bit after that last game, going with the Karthus, because Karthus can be kind of weak early on, but that mid game they're almost able to pull it out just with the Karthus AoE.
Yep, we did see a little bit of Lee Sin play from Black. Back when they played against Teamless, and they did lose to Teamless, but the one match they did win was with the Lee Sin jungle. Worked out pretty well, but we'll see if they're able to pull it out here. Corki Morgana for Gamehoppers. Corki down bot with that Nunu, gonna be very mobile, and that attack speed, especially with that passive, is gonna hurt bad.
Yeah, picking up the Morgana to not allow Black to have it. So we'll see what Face Roller is comfortable with. He's played some unusual champions, but we haven't seen that standard play out of him. So there are a number of really strong champions left. They could go with like an Aurelia Orianna, and that would be a very strong team right now. Having those shields would work out for them. They go with the Ezreal pick, so they recognize, all right, we're probably going to want to go with the Ezreal. Graves against Morgana might be kind of vulnerable, and particularly against Nunu. Graves struggles against Nunu because his ultimate can just shut him down. Having the snowballs as well can really hurt Graves a lot, so they will go with that. And then grabbing Rumble, and we have seen Face Roller play Rumble mid in the past, kind of like Prawley for the Legion. Prawley likes playing Rumble mid occasionally.
So
they could also go Alvic top as Rumble, obviously.
They could,
which is more common.
Yeah, but I hope that's not the case, because I always love to see something interesting come out from Black here. So I'm thinking of what can we go? Who can we put in mid? Maybe get like a Nivea there in the mid. You could try and
I mean, you could really go with anyone that you want to run your team comp with. They could go with a Ryze. Ryze would be a really common pick. Gragas as well. Just because Morgana, you can lane anyone against Morgana for the most part.
Yeah.
But we'll see where they're going. Gamehoppers, they lock in on the Xin. So they're going with Xin and Maokai. So Maokai will set up the mid lane for some kills pretty easily. But Xin in the top lane is just such a powerful champion.
Yeah, he can be quite annoying. He can be really, really annoying. But it's just a matter of how does a Xin... How well does he fare against a Rumble? I don't think I've ever seen that matchup.
He fares very well. He's a great pick against Rumble. And Rumble, any bruiser with initiation works well against him, and Xin has a lot of burst damage. Rumble will win in the sustained damage because his Flame Sorter does so much, but the burst from Xin is very strong, and he can also pick up kills and whatnot. So that's kind of what you look for against Rumble. You just want someone that can dive on him and get those quick kills. So now we'll see. I think that Ryze would be a very strong pick for the team. They would have, a great mid game, great late game, strong lanes all around. But that would be keeping Rumble in the top. If they want to send Rumble mid, then they could also go with like a Diana or a Gragas or something. If they want to send Rumble mid, then Aurelia is probably the best option for them. They did ban out York. They go with the Galio. So Rumble top, Galio mid.
But this, we've seen Black with like really close range team in game number 1, but this is a very up close and personal comp from Gamehoppers that they're gonna be in your face. Xin right there with the initiation and the twisted advance from Maokai sort of just seals the deal for everyone to be very up close and personal. So I like the pick. I really like the pick. I just hope this time it works.
Yeah, and the difference is now they have a little bit more damage. They have the early game strength of Blitzcrank. They have Ezreal as well, so that'll be a little bit safer for Dukosi. But we'll kind of see, because York was really a strength of theirs in game number 1 that they weren't able to take advantage of. But now they're going to have really nice AoE in that mid game. It's not going against the hyper carries of Karthus and Kog'Maw, but the mid game for Gamehoppers is incredibly powerful. They're going to be difficult to tank down with Nunu and Maokai holding the front line. And then Morgana and Corki are just going to have so much damage to follow up on it.
Yeah, I'm also thinking of future thought here, how vital actually Blitz and Lee Sin are actually going to be in these fights, because those are the only two champs with like really like if things go awry, if things go wrong, that's like really like they're the big like disengage or attempts to get Gamehoppers off them. Lee Sin kick there for like it's just try and get the ultimates out of the way. You somehow get a Morgana who's ulti but doesn't have that spell. She's like, no, get out of here. But more likely for like the Nunu or for the Maokai. But Blitz with that silence can do a lot here.
Yeah, no, his silence will help out a lot. I don't know if silence cancels out Maokai's ultimate. That would be kind of interesting to know. So I'll have to check on that.
I think what it does is that it prevents him from turning it off.
That's my guess. I'm assuming it's like Swain's ultimate or any number of other channels or toggles where it prevents it from turning off the ultimate but doesn't cancel it. But I think, I don't know, some champions it does, some doesn't. So that would be nice for them. But we'll see where they go with it, because they have a really nice AoE team, but Galio was never quite able to get rolling in that first game, and Gamehoppers was able to take some early advantages. Now if they go with a more standard lane setup and send Galio in that mid lane, that should work out for them. We'll see if that makes a difference, and they can have the 2v2 lane with Ezreal. So they're probably not going to do any sort of lane swaps because they don't have a very strong pushing team. So they won't want to put on that early pressure. Yeah,
well, the thing, game number 1, Galio farmed really well. He farmed really well. But the thing is, though, you threw him bot lane with a blue buff against a Kog'Maw. And granted, he was farming very well. He was actually being pushed in quite often. So he was farming, but Kog'Maw was also getting farmed with like very little threat. Skarner was a constant presence in bot lane, keeping the Galio away, just sort of annoying him and making sure that he didn't get too out of control. But Kog'Maw was still able to farm. Karthus was still able to eventually farm in mid.
And the Kog'Maw was really what was so devastating about their team, because Karthus, in both games, we saw the AoE of Karthus was able to, almost win those fights for them. But it was really the Kog'Maw long range able to, pick up those kills, since they Black had a very short range team. Now they have, a little bit more damage early game. Corki's a little bit stronger in the early game. They have that frontline burst, but I don't know. We'll see how they can control these fights. And actually, Morgana going with teleport as well, recognizing that Face Roller likes running that teleport on the Galio. He wants to counter out some of those TP fights and try and pick up some early kills for Gamehoppers as well.
But it's a similar concept. I mean, it's two very big AoE ults, and a straight teleport can really sway those fights. And it's real. I'm wondering though. I'm curious to see if Hawkins is actually going to be using it to try and like out gank Galio, or only as like a defensive measure. It's like, well, if you can go bot, I can go bot too. Something. It's going to be interesting to see how actually both of the mids use their teleports.
I'm assuming he's going to use it as a reactionary teleport to when Galio is looking for a teleport. He looks for one himself, but any opportunity that would be in his favor. He'll probably try and do that. But so we'll kind of see where that goes. But here we go. Game number 3, Gamehoppers versus Black. Some interesting strategies from both teams. And now we can see how that Galio works. Because Galio, he is one of the safest champions in the game early on at farming and whatnot. He can farm very successfully. And then mid-game, he can really steamroll fights because he's just so tanky and has the AoE if you have the damage to follow up on it. However, he does fall off rather quickly.
Yep, and with those teleports too, I mean, it's really signing on to both APs. Like, you know what? Let's just truce, passive farm. There's no real aggression. There's no ignites. As both of the AP mids are just like content with just sitting back and farming.
Yep. So we'll see how they go. Pretty standard summoners other than those teleports. But bot lane, Corki and Nunu is a very strong lane. They will be able to actually bully around Blitzcrank and Ezreal a little bit. And if Blitzcrank gets a hook on Nunu, it probably won't be that big of a deal. But Nunu will probably have to play a little bit defensively early on, just because Nunu starts off pretty squishy. So like the first couple, like level 2 and 3, will be in Blitzcrank's advantage. But we'll see where they go from there, and how top lane works, because a lot of that's probably going to come down to jungle pressure, and Maokai's jungle presence is just so strong. So we'll see if Rumble can deal with that and deal with that quick burst damage.
Yeah, we've mentioned this on stream many times before, that Rumble's magic spot, like the area, once he starts getting rolling, is around level 4. He has a sufficient he has a sufficient skill builds. He really needs all 3 of those skills to actually start getting into overdrive, building up that heat, getting his real damage output that he's meant to do out. But he's also got some time because he does need to build up. He does need to get that revolver. He does need to sustain. And early ganks from Maokai and just all the damage and initiation coming from Xin could be more than enough to take out the Yordle.
Yeah, so we'll see where he's going. I think that he's probably going to sit back and just try for those fast goal pretends, not put too much pressure on.
Yep. Yeah, you see right here that he buys the harpoon first. So it's like, I'm content on range farming.
Well, that's usually true of Rumble. You almost always get the harpoon first, because you can't do anything. Like you're just so weak in the first 3 levels as Rumble that you just want to range farm. But I'm saying Maokai is probably going to sit back and get those gold pretends, not go for those early ganks. He could maybe pressure top, but I think for the most part he's going to allow top lane to get a couple of levels since Xin already has an advantage. They do spot out Blitzcrank though, so the bind going off not going to be an issue, but they recognize they're there and they can adjust for it.
Black, they want their ward, they got their ward, and now that sapling will just go ahead with all the vision necessary to bind. Nice caught on the blitz, but again, no pursuit. I think they're trying to force Black into like overreacting into doing something they don't want to do, or even at the best, burn out a flash. If you can just do that in the level 1, that's amazing.
Yeah, so they are able to, kind of force them back. They don't want to sit around for too long. They weren't worn down. They weren't, taking too much damage, but they just didn't want to stall out and waste their time, because they want their lanes to be able to go. And actually, Rumble is going to go bottom. No, never mind. So he's peeking around.
He's going to go for the wolves.
He is going to be going bottom. He's going bottom.
Huh.
So Rumble against Corki and Nunu. That's kind of interesting, because Corki and Nunu should be able to abuse him very hard. Like it's going to be such a difficult thing. But they are moving down, maybe coming in for that invade on the blue. Rumble helping out Lee Sin, grabbing it, but Blitzcrank could get this over the wall. The blue does go down though. Maokai is able to grab it, and he has the wards. Cozy just trying to get that damage to force him out of his jungle.
And what it's going to do, though, is the lizards are actually still alive. The camp actually does not opt to respawn until the entire camp is dead. So basically what it's going to do is going to set down the blue a little bit further behind, and because the ward is still there from Black, they will have the timer on it. They will know when it comes back up, and they can go in for the steal later. For now, though, Maokai is just slightly annoyed. He's a little bit he's a little far behind. Nothing really too huge to write home about, but it does allow Napper to actually get into position. Nice hook onto Elmupo there into top lane, but he only level 1, cannot capitalize on it.
And the reason they're going for this, Lee Sin actually coming in onto Morgana forces out the flash. The reason they're going for this lane swap is because they recognize that Xin is just so strong against Rumble early on, and Rumble's just so weak. So, they're going to be comfortable with this. They aren't going to get a very good push. Lee Sin actually forcing out Broto. He's still only level 1. And so this constant pressure on Broto, we had seen it a little bit in game 1, but it helps them prevent Maokai from pressuring Rumble, or really Rumble's the lane that he's going to want to gank to pick up those kills. And so by slowing him down, it allows Rumble to get into his items, get into his abilities a little bit, and be a little bit safer in this game.
Yep. And you also notice, Maokai was actually still level 1 in that engagement. He did not go for the wolves, so he actually did not get full experience from that blue camp. So that also sets him behind just a little bit.
Yeah, so we'll see how that continues to work, but Lee Sin getting on some nice pressure. And because Xin is in such a dangerous situation and he doesn't have any AoE clearing, they're actually pushing very effectively into him, whereas Rumble can clear a little bit better. Xin, he's in a dangerous spot, so they do get some nice damage on that top turret.
Yeah, and also, too, once Rumble hits 6, he can just go, oh, nice hook coming down to ignproleague, but does actually dash right to an enemy minion, a little bit closer to his tower. If that minion was not there, he would have been dead for sure. But Naprin actually getting a little aggressive. He may attempt the snipe from behind a tower, but ignproleague should be able to get out just in time.
He's just there to take the turret, though. I mean, yeah, it would have been nice to get that snipe, but they're going to get this turret really quickly. It's going to drop here, and then they can go for another lane swap.
Naprin helping out here. The teleport coming on in from Morgana, but the turret's going to be a little bit too quick to go down. Hawkton maybe putting himself in a bad spot here. Naprin getting very low, does shield on over to a minion, will get out to safety, and that is tier 1 in top lane gone in less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, really incredible play from Black, and that teleport was kind of a misplay because there wasn't an opportunity for her to stop that at all. It was a little bit too slow, and now her teleport's going to be down for 5 minutes. So that's actually, the 5 minutes puts it right in the range of taking another turret, taking that blue buff, taking dragons. So those are all objectives that Morgana wants that teleport up for, and she won't. So we'll see how that factors in.
So it's just a matter now of where Ezreal and Blitzcrank are going to be going next on their domination vacation. Ezreal's going for the mid. Blitz is actually heading on down to bot lane. Actually, no, he's going to readjust there. Actually, it looks like they're going to be going all mid here to try and pressure down the lane. But you'll notice, though, that Morgana's camped out top and Xin has actually moved himself down to mid. So I think this is could be a little bit of a misplay. I
really love what Black's doing because Xin Zhao, he's always been very strong in the late game. With the buffs he received a while ago, it made his early game a little bit stronger, but his early game was always very strong, but he had the potential to counter snow or anti-snowball. So instead of snowballing in a positive manner, actually snowball negatively, where you just, if you fall behind early, you just continue to fall further and further behind. So they're actually trying to really pressure Xin, never allow him to get in this game, which means that not only are they pulling ahead in the early game, but they're going to be so much stronger in the mid game because Zin's going to be almost worthless.
All right, so he's not snowballing, he's actually melting then.
Yeah.
All right, good. New terminology
Nunu, it would be a little bit better if it was actually Nunu, but
yeah,
Xin melts pretty effectively.
He does melt pretty effectively. You got the shield coming from Lee Sin. Nice Q for the kick. Follow up, trying to get the damage onto Corki, but with the Valkyrie should actually be just fine. And Blitz just loves to put his hand onto those shields, man. Every time Morgana has those shield up, nicely well-timed.
Yeah, but they've been able to force her out of lane. Lee Sin trying to chase down Corki, but actually Nunu's slowing him down, and Maokai is here as well. And with the Nunu slow, they're going to be able to catch up to him. The exhaust as well, and the Maokai twisted advance. They get the first blood. Galio actually with the teleport in, and Rumble's there. He gets the ultimate onto Nunu, but Corki is just out of range. So they pick up the kill. Raleigh is almost going down. They get the double kill. I think it was actually the minion that picked it up.
Got it.
And then they grab Maokai as well. So 3 kills quickly for Black for a huge early lead. Nick Allen coming in, showing us his chest, I'll say. But Morgana, because they've been able to force Morgana to constantly spam spell shields against Blitzcrank, they're able to pressure this tower because she doesn't have the pooling capabilities anymore. 2 towers all ready for Black.
Wow.
And considering game 1, how abusive Gamehoppers had been. Gamehoppers trounced them game 1. Then game 2, Black had an early lead, and then they almost threw it. And now all of a sudden, Black is just, they're looking very strong with this aggressive lane swapping and the aggressive early play.
See, this is what I wanted to see game number 1. This is what we could not see game number 1 because Gamehoppers, they did get their small advantages here and there, and Black was playing just a little bit too passive. But now we're seeing them turn up that aggression. They're bringing it up to 11. You got Blitz and Ezreal they're going to be backing, and you're going to see Rumble actually now gravitating towards mid, and just one by one, you're going to see Ezreal and Blitz just pressure down these towers. The only problem is that when you do eventually come down to the bot turret, you're not in a 2v1 situation anymore. It's back to a 2v2. Hopefully all these advantages will allow Ezreal and Blitz to just go ahead and roll over this lane, though. But here's the problem. You do have Corki. He is level 6. He does have a little bit of an experience lead, and the gold lead is actually even.
Yeah, but Corki is going to be able to stall fairly, easily. So the team objectives is really where they're getting their benefit from for that 2K gold lead. And Rumble, we'll see if he starts to go top. They are all transitioning over down to the Dragons, so they could try and pressure that. And Alvic actually is going for that really strong early game build with the Haunting guys. It has been the common build in Rumble. It's just such a superior build. And they're actually, are they going to 4-man bottom? No, they're transitioning up to the tower. But they might do bottom after that. Xin is coming down as well. He doesn't want to allow them to continue pulling ahead.
Right now, there is the sapling in the Dragon Pit, but Black, they did not know that they were actually spotted earlier. Shift over the wall, but the Rumble ult going down, grabbing the Nunu, pulling him into the rest of the team. Will melt pretty quick. Twisted advance down onto Rumble, does flash over the wall. Will get to safety. Some Corki missiles just for harass, but the ward will not die soon enough. Now here comes Galio. There's one man down on Gamehoppers. Nunu will not be there for the consume, so it's going to be a little bit harder for Gamehoppers to try and steal. Nice pull onto the Corki. Does burn the Valkyrie to get out to safety. Exhaust going down onto the Xin, but here comes Morgana with the ult. Only going to get one stun, only on the Rumble, and Elm up with his opportunity to clean up, but no, the Galio will be too much. Ezreal grabbing that kill. Fat Mama out. The missile missing. Still hits, but he's down to 14 health. Should be able to wheel on out. Kool with the ult.
Oh,
whiffing
he missed
completely.
Corki.
Whiffing completely.
Yeah, almost able to grab that, and nice turnaround from Gamehoppers. The frontline damage is definitely there, and then Xin, he was able to slow them down. Xin's sticking power is very strong, so if they get some nice fights, then it'll help Xin snowball a little bit. There's the Haunting guys under Rumble, though, and having all that spell pen is going to be absolutely massive on this next fight, and particularly if he can get to level, once he gets to level 11, that's going to be huge. So we'll see, how that's going to kind of factor into things. But Galio, kind of, I don't know, interesting. He was able to get his ultimate off, and it looked beneficial at first, but not quite able to, get any follow-up on it. Yep. He was able to zone the team for a little bit, but they weren't able to, get them all in there and burst them down like they would like to.
Did the math real quick, and right now, with all the spell pen that Alvic has, he's doing true damage to all of Gamehoppers.
Did the math? You mean hit C to look at the character stats?
I did.
Yes. I'm kidding.
Yes, I did. That's called math to me.
Yeah.
I'm looking at things. I'm calculating. It's like, subtraction. It's simple. I can do it.
It's very strong. It's that early game build with the Haunting guys is great. I like that kind of math. That works out. But
math is good, kids. Stay in school.
We'll see, how they can transition out of this. Xin is going for that, early kind of tanky build, but if he can pressure Rumble, that's going to be very strong for them because Rumble is fairly weak early on. Lee Sin actually chasing down Xin. He won't have enough to kill him, but he's getting pretty close actually, and there's not a tower for him to get to. So El Mupo flashing that second Q recognizes he doesn't want to continue to drop like that.
It's kind of like it's kind of like a kid on the playground. Lee Sin is like, well, I got my dad to help me, back me up. It's like, he's got Galio actually, right there laying in wait just in case something goes wrong.
Morgana's coming in from behind. She's got them completely flanked.
You got Morgana coming in down the ramp. You do have the Rumble ult going on down. Nunu ult coming in. Fluma should be able to get the full proc on that, but only onto Alvic. But he's a little bit too far away from the rest of the team. Will fall pretty quick. El Mupo, though, this is an opportunity to clean up double kill from Maokai onto the Blitz, and Broto will be caught out just a little bit. Naprin not looking so big now. Xin wants that revenge for an earlier fight, but Galio with the ult only to keep everyone still. But this is a great opportunity for Kool to clean up on everybody if he can close the gap. He does have the shift, but it's just not up on cooldown yet. He's still got to wait for a little while.
Oh, and they forced out the flash from Corki, and he can just poke them down from a range. If he gets in, the snare actually shutting him down. The Q from Lee Sin, though, he gets the slow, the auto attack, he picks up Maokai. And so it turned out pretty well for Black. Ezreal is very strong in those long sustained fights when everyone's low. but Gamehoppers played that beautifully through the beginning, and Morgana teleporting in instead of in the middle of the team, teleporting in a vision blind spot, and she was able to hit the bind onto Ezreal, put a lot of pressure on him, burst him down very quickly, and so Ezreal, even though he didn't die, he wasn't able to deal damage for most of the fight, and now he can continue to farm. Mr. Raleigh's trying to shut him down a little bit here, but they are going for that dragon. They will pick that up. Lee Sin very low though, actually almost going down, but they're able to grab that.
He's got the shield.
But anyway, so Morgana was able to jump in the middle of the team, force the fight, and they're protecting Corki. They're keeping Corki alive in the back, who has plenty of damage. Even without a lot of items, Corki has a really strong early game damage.
Unfortunately, the 2 wards still here in bot river, just out of range of that pink ward, and one even in the bush. And Galio also unfortunately got a little bit of a fail ward, did not quite get that in the tri-brush down there. If it did actually hit, they may have had the vision on Corki to actually finish up and even clean him up in that last fight. But for now, though, Black is looking really good. 3K gold lead. Muppo and Hawkton just cannot quite get the damage here in mid. They will have to fall back, and there's plenty of time for everyone from Black to reassemble and pick a lane, continue to push. Ezreal and Blitz returning down to the bot lane. Unfortunately enough, Mr. Ali's is actually backing, so they can get another wave here onto this tower.
Someone let me know, by the way, if it's Mr. Rails, because that sounds a little bit smoother. But Morgana going for the blue, will be nice to stall off. It is a 3K gold advantage for Black, but Gamehoppers, they've looked very even so far. They've been able to get very close in these fights. They're able to kite perfectly. So despite the quick damage that Black has, they're not able to follow up on those kills as effectively as they would like to.
Oh.
And Rumble, is he looking for this fight? He wants to pick it, and they have 4 members down bot, so they're just going to be able to take down this tower very easily.
I like what Black did, because Ezreal got past the blue. Lee Sin was just tanking the golem, and Ezreal just took it with the ultimate. It was like, I'm lazy, but I want blue buff, and Lee Sin here, do this for me. But recognizing that Dekosi is going to be a big presence, and really the one dealing out most of the damage in these fights, he needs that spam ability. He needs that mana in order to keep that up, so that's a good call from Black.
Yeah, so we'll see how they continue to pressure him. Lee Sin zoning out Morgana a little bit, gets off some damage through the shield, but will back off. And Galio is actually pressuring top, and Galio does have teleport, Morgana doesn't. So he can split push. They can play very defensively, but if he needs to teleport in, he's going to have that.
Dekosi does get the twisted advance, but Lee Sin is there with the shield to keep him protected. You got the Nunu ult, but it will be canceled out, will go down very quickly. El Muppo is caught in the Galio ult, but double kill coming in from Rumble will take care of the Maokai. Muppo caught, popped up in the air. Nappered, will he stay alive? No, but that's fine.
Yeah, and Rumble chasing down Corki. They're going to be able to grab that. Can he get over the wall? No, he does go down. So an ace for Black, and they're finally able to pick up those stragglers, those low health champions that they couldn't quite get in the past. Ezreal is able to clear the wave pretty quickly, so they will be able to take down this turret as well. And this is just a massive gold advantage for them. Face roller coming inside. No, Fat Mama, too fast. He walked into the turret, so he does go down.
Dude, Dekosi is just so incredibly fed at this moment.
Yeah,
it's just ridiculous.
And they tried to put a lot of pressure onto him, but they weren't able to follow up on it. So Maokai, he was able to catch him out of position, to which he arcane shifted back. And then Morgana, she tried getting in on him. She threw off a snare, and he flashed the snare, and then she followed up with the her ultimate. But he was able to kite her and take her down. All the meanwhile, Galio, even though Galio doesn't have a lot of damage in and of himself, he was able to zone almost all of Gamehoppers. So it was Morgana running into the back line, and Galio and one other person, Maokai, and they're able to take them, but then Galio was able to stall the rest of the team without going down, and that meant that Corki wasn't getting damage onto Ezreal or onto Rumble. And so as a result, once Morgana's ult was down, Black was able to come in strong and come in ready to fight.
That blue buff is such a good idea at Dekosi right now. It really is. It's just getting all that spam, getting all that huge damage, plus the Trinity, and a red elixir for some extra damage, some extra pain. Really good call at this point in the game. I like it. I like where it's going. You got Galio. He's still continuing his build. He's already has his chalice. Looks like he's going for the Abyssal next. Lee Sin, he's got that GP10. He's got his Heart of Gold. Probably looking for the Aegis next. And yeah, Haunting Guys. You got the revolver built into the Will of Agents there on Rumble. That's so much damage. There's so much sustain coming in from him as well. And you do now see, oh, nice pull, no shield that time. Hawkton will go down very quick before the ult ever finishes. Napper is taking some turret damage, twisted advance from Maokai there to try and follow up, but Face Roller X is here. His ult is not up though, but the damage is there. This should be just fine.
Yeah, so they pick up the quick kill, and the tower does go down for Gamehoppers in the bottom lane, but you know, now Black's in a good position to continue pressuring this mid turret. A couple of them are low, but you know, they know that some of Gamehoppers are low as well. No, they're actually going to back off. So just taking what they can go back, you know, buy any items, reheal, regroup, and just continue to slow pressure their lead.
Yep. I mean, Black, all these fights they're leaving low, but the further the game goes on, they're still managing to get the kills. They're getting less and less low every time they leave these team fights, and eventually it's just going to be a non-issue regarding their health. I mean, they're just going to be so incredibly healthy going into these games because of the lead that they've carved out for themselves. It's a 2K gold lead. Yeah. That's pretty huge.
But they do have to watch out because the previous game they did almost throw it away at one point. They, you know, they did stall some. Galio does fall off some, whereas you know they didn't quite have the same issue with Morgana in the previous game. They aren't going against the Karthus, so that was kind of the big issue, is that Karthus was absolutely wrecking them for Gamehoppers. But so we'll see, you know, if they can continue to pressure this, or if Gamehoppers can stall off, because Gamehoppers does have really nice AoE setup. Maokai helps cancel out a lot of the AoE damage that they have, and they are going to the top lane, but Black, they recognize that they're in a good situation to actually push down the mid turret. They might be able to get two mid turrets here.
Yeah, this is a bad call here from Gamehoppers. It's sometimes trading a tier 1 for a tier 1's not too terrible of an idea, but with a tier 1 for a tier 2 and potentially a 3, that's not the best idea in the world.
Yeah, and at the very least, they're going to get a dragon as well, but they're very close to being able to take up this brace turret, and they will be able to grab it. Actually, the teleport, but there's the hook. Xin clearing them out, though. He has nice clearance, and Morgana jumping in the middle of the team as Face Roller ultimates, and just 2v5, they're able to hold this off, and then the bind on the Alvic. He's going to go down underneath the turret, just shut down for Corki. So actually, really nice play. Maokai does go down, but nice job from Gamehoppers to actually come back from that.
Yeah, and a tier 3 in mid is actually at half health. And again, this does clear enough time right now for Black to go ahead and grab the dragon. So it's still going to be a massive net gain for Black at this point. The gold lead is just going to extend even further. 7K now. So huge.
Yeah, no, despite the fact that it was a nice fight from Gamehoppers, it's still to Black's advantage. The entire situation. So it's, you know, we'll see how that factors in. The Abyssal Scepter on Galio now, he didn't really quite get this deep into his item build the first game, and now, you know, being ahead at this point, the damage that's going to help his team with is going to be so massive, and Galio actually building into a GA, so he's a little bit concerned about, you know, going down quite too quickly, and he wants to be able to still be aggressive while they're pushing the mid turret. They shouldn't be able to stop this. So Gamehoppers is actually going to be able to get this turret. That'll help them out a little bit.
Yep, Galio and also Rumble. Yeah, these are the two frontline champs, and they're being chunked out pretty huge. They're taking quite a bit of damage, but the big thing that the GA does, like, you know what? Maybe you might not want to attack me because I'm only going to come back. But it's already difficult enough for Gamehoppers to go ahead and zoom in on that back line,
and Rumble,
even with Xin.
And Rumble really is Gamehoppers' biggest target right now because he has a lot of damage output, but Rumble's actually pretty squishy. So, you know, going with this early game build and transitioning into the GA just works out perfectly for him. And they do have them pressured back, so Gamehoppers has to play defensively. They're kind of scared. You know, I didn't actually ever realize that Baron had that ferocious,
the scream,
like T-Rex squeal, I guess. But
it's kind of a little bit like the Day 9 Scraw, just a little bit. It's toned down just slightly. I like it. There's all the extra little perks with all the jungle minions and all the neutral monsters. I love it.
Yeah,
it's those little touches.
Yeah, it's a nice detail, but we'll see. Black, they are pressuring down the top turret. They want to see if they can pick someone off, and so Blitzcrank actually sitting over the wall, won't quite be able to get it. He does have the oracles, he can clear out these minions, but there's actually the Lee Sin kick onto the minions, and then the knockback onto Xin. He's trying to get out of there, and he does get out of there, but they do have a pretty good position on them, so Gamehoppers could actually win this fight as Galio teleports in on the side.
Morgana ult not getting everything she wanted, but you do have the Cozy grab the kill onto Xin. He's still looking to wreak some havoc. Hawkton gonna be the next one on the list. Maokai does get the kill on the Lee, and Rumble did still go down, but that's the problem. You got the AD carry, but that turret should actually be more than enough to take him out. So right now it is 3 for 4 here. But Decozy did everything he could. He got quite a bit of damage down, but it's still a 2v1. Face Roll and Fat Mama still have plenty to deal with the Broto, and there's not really a whole lot Maokai can do to try and dissuade other than, you know, take out the creeps and just be a general annoyance to Face Roll and Fat Mama.
Yeah. But that previous fight was definitely a really nice job from Gamehoppers. They were able to, you know, catch Black out of position, and so they were split. It was best the fork where you fork towards the blue. They were able to split them, so 3 of the members were going north, and then 2 of the members were going east. And actually, Galio was teleporting in. But that split, they were all still grouped together. It allowed them to, you know, keep that core together and burst down the 80 carries and whatnot. Galio was able to come in and, you know, clean up a little bit, but still, it was a nice job by Gamehoppers to force that quick fight.
I love that initiation from Naprin does, like that geometry involved. Shield to the, you know, shield 90 degrees, kick 90 degrees. Zin was just so far out away from the rest of the
Does
team.
Ezreal steal it? I think he stole it. He stole it. Ezreal stole the red from Corki.
We're
really
watching,
nice job.
We're watching that again. Like, that was just absolutely, like, blind. Like,
yeah, that was a really nice job.
Wow.
Just recognize. I think he was going for the minion waves, actually, but he was able to steal that.
He was going for the minion waves.
Yeah.
What the hell?
But, yeah, so that really has to be frustrating for Gamehoppers. But, I don't know, we'll see, you know, how Black continues to pressure it. Because even though, you know, these fights are doing decently for Gamehoppers, they're actually still coming out ahead, behind on each of these fights. So Black, even though the fights aren't exactly how Black would like them to go, they are pulling further and further ahead slowly. It's just they haven't had that one, you know, game-winning fight yet. So yeah, we'll see, you know, how that factors in.
Yeah, I wonder if Decozy knows that he actually stole that. This is kind of like strange to him.
No, he knows. He saw the gold pop up, and he looked down and went, "Oh, my red buff was almost out, and now it's new."
Huh.
I'm sure he recognizes that he stole it. And
like,
he also
you
have
happens.
vision on your ultimate.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
Morgana jumping in, she hit the bind onto Ezreal. Galio trying to counter it out some, but actually they're crushing Black in this fight. Maokai has to back out of there, and Corki is very low as well. The Ezreal ult picks up Corki though, and that is the turnaround because Decozy is very strong now.
Nice.
The hook onto Nunu, and they are able to clear that out. So 3-for-1, and Gamehoppers, they just recognize that is over. They're just going to lose a significant portion of their base right now. Black is going to crush them now.
That was as good as it gets for Gamehoppers, unfortunately. But with everyone now diving on in, you got champs leading the game. I'm pretty sure that's the surrender coming on in, and there it is. Game number 3 going to be going to Black. They will be moving on round of 8 to face against Fnatic. Good job, guys.
Yeah, so really, you know, nice play. And Black, they are a big up-and-coming team. They have been for a while. Gamehoppers as well. So, you know, it'd be interesting to see who, you know, would come out of this. But Black, in the end, they're able to take it. And you were saying earlier how Black, you know, they'd kind of fallen short in the past against Gamehoppers. You know, when they've played in the past. So, really nice job.
It's historically, Gamehoppers is just really just toyed with Black, like tournament, like throughout, like both their like entire tournament histories. But now, you know, this is the first time you have Black. It was close. They had a really close call game 2. They just almost threw it away. They got a little bit lucky, really, with that Karthus pickoff. But in game 1, you know, is not like the usual fare we see from Black. Usually we see something, you know, some of their way out comps have a little bit more success than what they did.
Yeah, it was just rough. Like, even though York was successful in game 1, the Karthus really was just too devastating. They weren't able to take any early advantages. And, you know, even when you look at that game, Galio, he wasn't a game changer. In game 1, because they had a York already, York's a passive kind of champion, they needed a game changer. And they had Galio. And Galio, you know, he's not really that, you know, insta-win, I'm going to carry you champion. Game number 3, you saw that again. It wasn't Galio so much as it was Rumble's damage and, you know, Ezreal in the back line. What Galio was there for was zoning. He was able to get some nice damage off. He was a tanky body, but mostly just zoning, using his ultimate to counter off Morgana's initiation a little bit, and it worked out pretty well for them.
Yep. So that's that. Black going to be moving on, playing Fnatic in the round of 8.
So for Face Roller, for the win for Black, get a little chest bump for victory.
Later. We do have our NA matches coming on up later this afternoon. Not quite sure who we're going to be having playing yet, but do come back in about a little over 3 hours, and we will have that for you. We got qualifiers going on for the rest of the month. Still got to figure out the other teams coming to IPL5, but for now, though, I think we are pretty much done. We do have we do have all the info down there. I think you might want to follow us on Twitter and do all that other stuff too.
Yeah, so definitely check that out. Thanks, guys. We will throw up a rebroadcast, and we'll obviously continue with our IPL5 qualifiers. We're all really excited about it. End of November. If you want to check that out on IGN.com/IPL, on the right side, we got that nice little IPL5 link. But once again, PAX Regionals, awesome time. Thanks to anyone who showed up, and thanks, guys.
Yep, see you next time.